Hello and namaskar everybody. In today's video we are going to talk about how to read 18th century novel, and as a sample of reference I'm taking Lawrence Sterne's Tristram, Shandy. So here we go. The first step. In step 1, read the characteristic features of 18th century literature. Like for example, if we talk about 18th century literature, what are the themes that come to our mind? Then we need to say about age of reason, because this particular era was comprised of age of reason, age of enlightenment, and it emphasized more on rationalism, intellect, logic, wit, rather than stressing upon emotionalism or sentimentalism or enthusiasm or even imagination. So it emphasized more on the correctness, the true and realistic human nature. And we cannot miss out, of course, what led to the 18th century novels, and that is because of the Industrial Revolution. So the prose technique of telling a story. Now moving on to the step number 2 is we need to also read the common features or the characteristics of 18th century novels, which were based on realistic themes, and it's written in prose form. We talked about in the last slide about true human nature, right? So this projects towards novel of manners of people, manners of class of people. Then we also get to witness Gothic and historical novels. Gothic are the horror novels, like The Castle of Otranto. So we get to witness these kind of novels as well, because we cannot forget that 18th century novels, they are the precursor to stream of consciousness. That is a major theme or technique, narrative technique in the modern era of literature. We basically talk about the fragmented inner workings of mind in this stream of consciousness. So this particular technique, narrative technique, which is distorted, that is experimented by Lawrence Sterne in this particular novel, and he placed himself as the fictional author, that is Tristram, Shandy. So now come to step number 3, about the author. Read about the author, because the author background is very much required in order to understand what he is trying to tell in the novel. So this particular writer, he survived between 1713 to 1768. He was a priest, a politician, and of course an author. Come to step number 4, and we need to do some pre-reading, and the pre-reading information will be about Tristram Shandy, that it is autobiographical with no definite plot. If you're looking for a plot in Tristram Shandy, I'm afraid there is not any plot. They're only characters. So it has a non-linear narrative technique. Then there are no plot, no definite plot, as we already said. We have already said about that. And so it challenges the traditional novel writing process of having a particular beginning, middle and end. It doesn't have like that. And it also, you would see the importance, the significance of time in this novel, because sometimes you feel that you're ahead of time, and sometimes the time shifts back to the original one. So it keeps fluctuating. It's like never linear, kind of. The pattern is not linear. Moving on to step 5, we need to read the novel, that's for sure and certain, because there are so many words and phrases, we need to mark them. We need to know that the narrator is not even born. He's shown in the 4th volume of the novel. So up to 3rd novel, you won't get a hint of any the narrator especially as a character. So the narrator is just a character in the first 3 volumes, and then the narrator is born in the 4th one. So this is not a traditional way of writing novel, right? And this is pretty different. And Lawrence Sterne in 18th century era, he experimented with this innovative technique that resonates with the modern era of literature. Now the expressions, very interesting expressions, the blank signs that have been used, implemented by the author. Track the characters because they tell you a lot about what's happening around. And as we know that we need to study the characters, not the plot, because there is no definite plot. Then step number 6, we need to prepare 3 columns. In column 1, please place the chapter number and the volume number. Column 2, you write complexities or the problems in the novel with reference to digressions. There are signs. So whatever problem is there in the novel, you have to write in points, and then you have to track the points, which are the complexities in the particular novel. You have to point it down. Column number 3 tells about, you have to put it as a comfort zone. The ones which you are okay with it, the points that you're okay. It's pretty understandable and obvious. So that's the comfort zone. Then come to the last step, that is make a table, because that's the way how you study the characters, how they are relevant to the novel, what are the relations. You need to even expand. You may have to expand the table, but I'm just showing just a sample. So you can expand it to some other columns also, like not only limit it or restrict yourself to the characters and relations, you need to also point it out. How do they connect, or what are the problems? Like we have already indicated that in some other table, you can club those 2 tables or 2 charts, and then you can start writing as well. So if you write with pointers, at least you will be able to connect. And here you can see that I've made 2 columns here, one of the characters and the other of the relations. And Tristram Shandy, he's the author, the fictional author, narrator, character. We have Walter Shandy as the father, Elizabeth Shandy as the mother, Uncle Toby as uncle to the narrator, but he's the younger brother to Walter. We also have Corporal Trim as the manservant of Uncle Toby. We have Dr. Slop, as the local male midwife. We have Parson Yorick, the village parson, Obadiah, servant to Walter, and Susanna, chambermaid to Elizabeth. So that's all for today. Hope you liked it. Thank you so much.